This content is brought to you by Fisher Improvement Technologies Online, a learning platform that includes self-paced courses, knowledge sharing, and networking opportunities for safety, quality, and performance improvement professionals. Join now for free at online.improvewithfit.com.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Hop In Podcast. My name is Ray Fisher. I work with Fisher Improvement Technologies, and for a lot of years, technology has helped people and organizations understand how and why people make mistakes, especially when those mistakes can prove to be catastrophic. We can do one of three things with those mistakes. We can mitigate the possibility that it happens. We can reduce the probability, or we can mitigate the consequences for when a mistake is going to happen. And several years ago, I talked to Rob about coming to work for him. We just never really would kind of pull the trigger, so to speak. I would never ask Rob for a job, and he would never ask me to leave a job that I had. I spent 25 years in aviation and supply chain consulting combined, and a lot of the error reduction methodologies that we teach, I learned early on. I just didn't know what they were called. They didn't have a name for it in the military, but I did start to use them in my project management life, and it really helped me get my projects to come in on time, under budget, and on schedule with zero safety incidents and zero quality incidents. In fact, a lot of the times clients would request me to come back due to the efficiency of the way I ran my projects. And that's a little bit about me and how I got to where I am today. And I'm going to toss it over to Justin and let him introduce himself.
What's up, everyone? Once again, welcome to the Hop In Podcast. We're going to be discussing all things related to human and organizational performance. So, Ray, can you toss it over to my slide? I'll talk a little bit about myself. So I joined FIT in 2011 and have spent pretty much the past 10 years learning about the science and concepts of human error reduction, human and organizational performance, and everything related to that. I started working for the company by developing the website, which I still do to this day. And I do all of the media recording and editing for the company as well. And I'm also responsible for some client success. I want to make sure that everyone has the best experience possible. I am the man behind the curtain of Fisher Improvement Technologies Online. I created it, I'm developing it, I manage all of the online content and all of the company podcasts. So that's a little bit about me. We do have a guest on today. Let's bring him up here. Hey, Elliot, can you hear us?
I can.
Elliot, welcome to the show. We have Elliot Wolf with us. Elliot, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your organization?
Yeah, sure, Justin. So my name's Elliot Wolf. I'm the Global Process Safety Competency Leader for the Chemours Company. That might be a new name to some. We're actually a 5-year-old, roughly, spinoff from the DuPont Company based in Wilmington, Delaware. So we're global, as you can imagine, a global organization with over 20 manufacturing sites and a long history and foundation of safety and process safety programs. So as you can imagine, we've got, it's really ingrained in our culture and our people. And I've really enjoyed engaging with you all on human performance as we're kind of in the middle of our journey with bringing some more of these enhanced tools and training and principles and concepts to our people at our sites. I guess just from a background standpoint, my education is chemical engineering. I've also got a business degree, and sometimes I look back and I've worked in different roles between manufacturing, research and development, product process development. Worked in a supply chain risk management role, process safety, EHS, and have used risk management tools throughout my career, and sometimes think, wow, why did it take so long for me to discover human performance? And it was a very eye-opening experience, and have really enjoyed just making the connections with people and what you all have to offer.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. From your experience so far with Fisher Improvement Technologies online and utilizing the online content, is there any questions that you happen to have for us about the science and concepts, or any stories that you'd like to share?
I guess for maybe over the past month or so have been able to go in and complete several of the courses. As I mentioned, for us on our journey, we've got a significant enterprise-wide initiative to improve our standard operating procedures and maintenance procedures, and generally written guidance across the company. And what we've recognized is that we have some gaps certainly across sites, and this online training that you offer through the portal has really given us a gateway and access very easily and efficiently for some of our personnel at our sites. Right now, we're piloting different modules and looking at which ones, and maybe a combination of different modules between the effective written guidance, the Aero course, the deviation analysis course, and kind of looking at the competency levels across our sites and individual roles and who might be best suited to take these various courses. And thus far, I think we've had over a half a dozen people sample some of the courses and have had really good feedback. And, like I say, the light bulb's starting to go off, and people are realizing that this initiative isn't just about updating a bunch of procedures. It's really about understanding how and why people might deviate, and how we can develop and create written guidance in a way that reduces that potential from happening. And so we're really kind of at this intersection of this procedure work and human performance. And I like the one quote that I think Rob has in one of his observations that might have been from Sidney Decker's book, and The Field Guide to Human Error, which is that if you want to change people's minds, you have to give them a paradigm that's better than the one that they're currently dealing with.
Absolutely.
And I really believe in that. And we're going through a change initiative right now, and people are getting it. They're seeing the science and the research and the data that kind of backs up the tools, and it's brought a new perspective. So it's very very exciting, I think, the journey that we're on. And with any project like this, there's a lot of hard work. We realize that that's ahead of us. But at the same time, I've got individuals at sites that are stepping up, saying, "Hey, I want to be the champion for for this work at our site. Count me in." So I think those are some real positive indicators.
Yeah, that's a huge thing too. You start to find that instead of it being something that the company is trying to tell people to do, you show them the information, they take it in, and then it becomes a pull from the rest of the organization. And that's kind of what you're starting to see with those, with the people that are saying, hey, I want to be a champion for this because there's real value in this change. And in reality, the changing of the procedures, that's going to be one of the toughest tasks, especially in the industry that you're in, Elliot. That's a huge undertaking to start changing procedures. But like with any elephant, you can only digest it one bite at a time. So being able to take that information, and one of the things that we always say is don't base your arguments on opinion, base it on the science, data, and research.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, and when it comes to, I know you've been going through some of the deviation analysis stuff. It's really amazing to see the light bulbs going off for people when they're realizing that not everything that goes wrong is due to a violation.
Yeah, in fact, we were just working with an organization last week where it was a huge light bulb moment for them that they had lumped errors and violations all in one basket, not realizing that there was an actual difference, and thinking that 90% of the things that were deviations were actually violations versus errors, which is the way that the science says that it is based on Deming and what Dr. Decker says.
Yeah, if I could comment on that, I know we've had some exchanges around the kind of spectrum of violations, and when you're dealing with life-saving type rules, very high risk or critical work, folks take that very seriously. And I think at the same time, what we're trying to do, and you guys have the way you lay out the terminology and the definitions is, we're trying to broaden our lexicon so that we all agree on what those definitions are. And then we're speaking the same language, and there's full transparency, and really driving home that there are different types of violations or maybe non-conformances when it comes to a deviation, and that's the kind of the message that I'm trying to drive, is that there's systemically induced or systems driven violations versus the isolated or individual violations, to get people thinking about those in a way that's, as you would say, inside the science.
Yeah, right. And that's typically one of the first paradigms that people have to shift, is number one, aligning on a definition. That's one thing. Number two, making sure that you separate the two and you're not lumping everything together. And because we've even had organizations say, well, we have violations and then we have willful violations. We always ask the question, why categorize them? You should look at whether the violation has systemic drivers or doesn't. And then whether it's an isolated to one person or it's a broader thing that we as an organization should go look at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you say something is a willful violation, that's almost saying that they had the will for the bad outcome to happen. I mean, all violations, there's an intent to deviate from a rule. But once again, is it systemically driven or is it isolated? And the chance that it's isolated is extremely low.
Yeah, absolutely right, Justin. Good point. And, it's people don't come to work typically to hurt themselves or to mess things up. So the fact that it would be a willful violation, to Justin's point, willful violation to me means they're hoping for a bad outcome, not a good outcome, when typically people that are outside of rules for whatever reason are always hoping for a good outcome.
Right. Unless you've hired a bunch of people that just want to sabotage your company, which
exactly.
also is not very likely.
True.
You've hired the worst people in the world.
Or you're missing it.
Right.
Yeah, I think you guys hit on it right, and you've said it before. It's just separating the action from the outcome,
Right.
and that there could be intent there to perform a specific action, but not an intent to have what that bad outcome is. I think getting folks to really separate it out, or maybe separating the error from the consequence, but I think also understanding and being able to diagnose what their intent was with whatever action they took, not recognizing that, oh yeah, we were going to blow out a seal and release 35 pounds of whatever material, and looking at that in a way where, well, is it possible someone else could have made the same mistake, and therefore what do we need to do to make it better for the next person?
That's exactly right, Elliot.
Yeah. And just to go back, we really appreciate all of the people that have gone through the online content. We really appreciate their feedback, because that has done nothing but help Justin create better and more effective content. It's one thing to put a course online for people to look at. It's a complete other to have the feedback that has been so valuable from you and all of the other individuals in your organization that have provided that for us, just to help us make it a better learning experience and learning environment for everybody else. So from FIT to you guys, we really, really appreciate that so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I take very seriously. And in my opinion, people's lives are on the line. That's really the way that I look at it. So my big passion in life is helping people. And ever since I've joined this company and started hearing some of the horror stories about just terrible things that have happened to people in the workplace, I've made it my mission in life to do everything that I can to help with that. And being able to create these courses and put them online so that they're available for everything has really been a blessing. So I'm going to be continuing to do that for quite a long time, I see in the future.
Likewise.
Yeah, that's great. It's like one of my colleagues says when he does training, if he can just deliver one piece of information to somebody that sticks with them and they take it away and it's going to save somebody's life, then he's done his job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I found the whole portal to, in a way, how it's set up and designed, it almost kind of gamifies the the modules, right? Because it provides somewhat of an incentive to either compete or get earn points. And we have different platforms internally as far as employee recognition that are similar in terms of you earn so many points and you can get something from the company catalog or a cash component. So yeah, and in fact, we're looking at different learning management softwares and tools. So yeah, some of the questions that I've asked just around and you providing just the capabilities as far as if we were able to link it up to either our existing system or new system. But I've set up a few meetings with folks that are kind of leading that training initiative and have had discussions and said, yeah, this is a really interesting platform because you can go in and it kind of has a leaderboard in a way. You could look at points and badges and it got me thinking about just personnel at our sites, the operators and technicians and maintenance personnel, how to deliver those snippets or micro learnings that are really going to stick with them and resonate, and do it in a way that motivates them that they want to learn more, right? So that's where I found your portal to, I think, be what you've started there. I think is you're on the right track.
Great, thank you very much. Cool. I think we are going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. Elliot, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate your time and the discussion that we've had. So yeah, here's to the first episode and many more. We'll see you all next week. Thank you for joining us, and keep improving.